4 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. Torsten Kolind is on the phone. He's been with us before, and he is the co-founder and CEO of U-Noodle. And if you forgot what that is, he's going to remind us of this. He's also going to tell us the results of a study. It's called the YN1K Women Study, focusing on the top 1,000 entrepreneurs and ideas from female founders who are part of the U-Noodle network. And we'll find out what that is and how this information might benefit you, I guess in today's case, especially if you're a woman. Torsten Kolind, good morning, Torsten. How are you?
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Good. And where are you again? Tell me where you are.
So I'm in San Francisco at the moment, so it's bright and early.
Getting up early to be with us. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so I know we only have a brief interview today, but just in a nutshell, what is U-Noodle?
So U-Noodle is the place where entrepreneurs go to find opportunities, especially competitions and awards, prizes they could win that'll help them get onto their next step.
Oh, really? And what type of entrepreneurs are you seeing in general? Are they software type or are they hardware? What are you seeing mostly?
We see a little bit of everything, honestly. There are a lot of software, kind of web and mobile app builders out there, but really we see people within the education space or within life science, healthcare. It really varies a lot, which is kind of cool to be able to watch.
And the study that you're talking about, is it 1,000 women?
Yeah, so we were looking at how the female entrepreneurs were performing relative to all other entrepreneurs on the network. And because it's a global platform, we were able to study quite a big number of entrepreneurs and startups. So we decided to just look at the top 1,000 performing female entrepreneurs that we've spotted the past 12 months.
And are they all are these female entrepreneurs? Is their businesses similar to one another, or do they run the gamut of originality?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That actually also varies quite a bit, and I think it's a general rule for startups and kind of people starting new businesses is that you do want to vary. You do want to build something that really is different from what's already out there and what other people are working on. So they do make an effort to stand out and to do something different. So that varies a lot. Also, the industries that they're in.
And are they shining more than men in certain areas like finance or I'm trying to think of another area? Are they shining more, or are they giving us a run for our money, us guys?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the interesting findings of the study, because usually in the startup world, it's historically been very male dominated. But what we found when we looked across the world was that North American women actually outperformed the men in competitions held here. Whereas if you look in Europe and in South America, the men outperform the women. So it seems like it's better to be a female entrepreneur in the U.S. and in the rest of North America than it is to be a male entrepreneur, which is very interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting finding. And in Asia, it seems to not matter. So North America is the best place to be.
North America's the best place to be for a woman. I would have thought North America, United States specifically, would have been the best place for opportunity, period. But I guess I'm wrong, huh?
No, I think that's also a fair assumption. All we're looking at here in the study is how do women perform relative to men. So we still see the most of our activity in North America, and also most of the top 1,000 female founders are also in North America. So you're right on that count. It's just relative to men.
Oh, I see.
It's actually easier to succeed as a male founder in, let's say, Europe, whereas in North America, we at least see women win competitions more often than men do.
So what is the role of U-Noodle? Do you literally look at the winners in this, or the ones who are achieving the most, and then kind of hook them up with other maybe people with money, or what is actually the role of U-Noodle?
So what we do is we try to aggregate the opinions of thousands of judges that are appointed to evaluate startups and entrepreneurs in each of these competitions. So we don't actually evaluate them ourselves, and I think that's important. We have kind of no interest other than studying the data here. We just try to aggregate all the opinions and scores that each of these judges give in competitions. It's kind of similar to, like, in a simplified way, how American Idol works. That there are a number of people that come up on stage and they present the startups they're working on, and then the judges will evaluate you in one way, shape, or form. And we're just kind of aggregating that across hundreds of competitions in order to find this result.
And we still hear all of these stories how women aren't appreciated as much as men in the business world. Their pay, their getting ship about getting things done and starting companies. And you are really making all of those statements false, which I really truly applaud you for, because I think women and men are on a level playing field.
I think it's definitely the case for competitions that we can say they're on a level playing field. I think it's true when you look later in the startup world, when you look at, for instance, which entrepreneurs raise funding from investors. There you have a much lower representation of female founders than of male founders. The figure lies somewhere around 4 to 5% female founders who raise funding. So the average that we have seen across the world is about 28% female founders in competitions. So not only could we say they do the same or better in competitions, but we can also show that there is a huge difference in the male to female ratio once they go through a competition. Let's say they get an award or get a prize, to later on when they eventually move on to raise funding, then there seems to now be a much greater imbalance. So that's also an interesting finding.
So the information that was given to us to prepare for the interview suggested that the average age of the entrepreneurial woman is 30, although you have them as young as the teens and as old as the upper 60s or whatever. The one thing I wondered, though, was what is causing somebody to be an entrepreneur? There's a magazine out there, and I've looked at this magazine called Entrepreneur Magazine, and I get the feeling from that magazine that some people are entrepreneurs almost as a hobby. Like, they try to come up with an idea to make money, they work it, it makes money, maybe they sell the idea, and then they try to do another one. So it's kind of their thing. But here in our community, we had a very, very large firm that folded up. It was Taylor, Bean and Whitaker, and the workers there, well, many of them, in fact, I think they were all women, weren't they, Robin?
Yeah, there were thousands.
Who decided, you know what, I'm sick and tired of working for somebody, I'm going to be my own. So they weren't really doing it like a hobby, but rather as a need, because they were tired of working for a corporation.
Yeah.
And still needed to earn a living, and they started these little businesses, and some of them are doing well. I remember having them in here, and I don't think there was one man from the group.
No.
Yeah, it's that we do see that, and I think that's definitely one of the types of entrepreneurship that are out there. You generally refer to it as need-based entrepreneurship, which is where you for instance, lost your job or a big company folded up, and you now have to go out and find, do something else to make a living. And I think it's sometimes you see local communities where this makes a huge difference, because now all of a sudden people that otherwise would have not really thought about the idea of starting a company, because it is a little risky. It's not your obvious choice for many people. Now all of a sudden they're looking into the opportunity of entrepreneurship, and some of them will find that not only do they really like it, but they're really good at it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a silver lining to what otherwise is usually a pretty tough time for a local community. That silver lining is that you are going to find people that all of a sudden discovered that they had talents, or they had opportunities that they didn't know existed.
If we go to younoodle.com, and for those who want to know, it's spelled Y-O-U noodle.com. What kind of resources are there for the entrepreneur, both male and female?
So we try to put together a number of competitions and other types of opportunities, accelerators that'll help you succeed. So really opportunities that are meant for the early stages of startups. And these are ways that you can win prizes or get access to investors or even get small investments into your businesses. Some are more kind of locally relevant, some are global, some are relevant to a specific industry or field. So they do vary a lot, but that's what we're trying to do with the site, basically put together resources for entrepreneurs.
All right, and I just went to the page, and you have I guess the headline story: Meet Teddy, a new bear necessity for every parent.
Yes, it's actually a great story to go in.
Wow.
They won something called the Creative Business Cup last year with essentially a teddy bear that the doctor, you can use at the doctor's office to take vitals and measurements on kids and babies, because usually they don't really like going to the doctor. So this is two women that actually founded a company that has a teddy bear that takes measurements on
Wow,
kids.
wow. Well, that's a wonderful idea that you think, why didn't somebody think of that sooner?
Yeah.
Isn't that always the way it is? All right, so go to the website younoodle.com and you know what? If you don't have an idea right now, you're going to be motivated to come up with one.
Yeah.
An entrepreneurial idea. Torsten Kolind, thank you for getting up early out on the West Coast to be with us today. And for the local listeners, again, the website younoodle.com, YOUnoodle.com. Thank you, Torsten.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we will take a little break. We'll be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others.